Okay, good morning everybody. I wanted to make a video just for myself. I was watching David Wiggins Jr. last night in slow motion, and I've always marveled at these great videos. There's a lot of interesting things about David Wiggins throwing. This man is an amazing athlete, and he has some very interesting tricks that he does, and there's some differences between his throw and what I typically teach, and I have no problem with that. But I just wanted to show it and talk about it. And let's get it brought up here. So first of all, this is distance throwing. Obviously, he's throwing full out. He's going from almost a full sprint. But there's a lot of things that can be learned from this. And obviously, he can, I think he's the world record holder. He's thrown over 1,000 feet. And anyway, here we go. Here we go again. Now, the veteran spin and throwers are going to see certain things. I'm hoping that people are starting to see things. And I know that there are people who have really gotten it in the last few months. It's really starting to come around. There are people in the group that are teaching me things, which is really cool. Not that I didn't have things to learn, just it's really cool that we're discussing the elements that I like, that I have taught. We're going to watch that again. Okay, now I'm going to slow it down even more. All right. So first of all, what he does is he throws himself into the air because he's got so much forward momentum he can. So it's basically like somebody getting ready to dunk. He's throwing his body up into the air. Now, this is what I wanted to talk about. Garrett Gurthie does the same thing when he's throwing distance. Let's see if we can see it. So he throws himself up in the air. Let's just keep looking at that. He's running. He throws himself up in the air. Okay. And when he did, he stood up straight on his backside and he threw his left shoulder and left side up in the air and then landed back on that foot. Now you say, why is that important? Well, so he got his head up by the jump. He's up high. And he essentially kind of leaves this shoulder up high as he goes. So he's going down and his left side is activating in the standard rotation that we see in all the good rotary players. He's already going to, so his left side is up in the air, and now he starts to lower his body, squat. This is another thing Paige Pierce does. So the left side goes up and he goes down, and that puts his left side high behind him in a massive rotation, and he's got a ton of momentum built up into this side. And he gets cranked on up there into that back hip, but he used the leap to start to get the whole mass up in the air. Okay. So next frame. Now he's firing, the knee is firing, and now it's rotating. Now I want to watch Mr. Wiggins in particular. I'm just going to leave my mouse pointer right here at the top of his head. Here we go. Okay, this knee is coming downward. Someone asked me if the knee goes downward. Well, if you set it up that high in the air and get bent over this much, then yes, that knee will go downward in rotation. One of the people on the group is a javelin thrower, and they actually practice this in javelin throwing. This move, the back drop, the knee drop, foot twist. That is actually how javelin throwers throw javelins. Okay, so, oh, I moved my pointer. Doggone it. Anyway, sorry. Okay, but my point is, here we go. Here we go. He's way down here. He started way up here in his jump. Took his mass, put it way up high, and then dropped it down in rotation. He's rotating. And I'll show you why he's rotating. Watch the pointer. Man, you could set a book on top of his head. And look at his, sorry, I'm going to move my pointer. See, look at his lower body. He has worked his entire mass around his spine, which runs like a rod from his tailbone to the top of his head. And he has a very nice straight spine, which facilitates this unbelievable steadiness that he achieves. We'll just keep going. I mean, this is what I'm trying to teach. Not everybody can do it as good as him. I'm not saying that you can. But I have students come to me and they are throwing their head from back here to up here while they throw. Blink. And I used to do it too. And that's how I wrecked my back. I don't want to wreck people's backs. I want to save people's backs. This is rotating. That's just pure rotation. That is not pulling in a line. He's trying to spin his body as fast as he possibly can on this bar of in the world there that runs right through the top of his head, right out his tailbone. And he does it in an amazing way. And then he just keeps going. Now the disc is long gone, and now he's starting to lean a little bit forward. His head is starting to, his spine, now that he's rotated so far, his side bend is now front bend. And he's kind of following the disc. The disc is long gone. His arm is completely flailing away. Okay, so we're going to back up. That's one thing. So we watched the lower body. Very much a study in how to use the lower body for sure. It's also a study in how to use your mass to get loaded up. So the mass goes up, then you use the gravity to boost your rotation speed because you threw your body weight up in the air. Gravity spin. You'll have to forgive my dog Phoebe in the background who decides that she wants to play the second I start doing anything. So we'll go back. We're going back. We're going to go back to the jump. Look how high up in the air he's going to look at the difference in the height. And again, I liken this to a person who's getting ready to dunk. Well, they do it in reverse, which is you throw your off leg up in the air, or a high jumper does the same thing. But he's running here, and he throws himself up in the air. There you go. There's the throw up in the air. And he uses that, gets his left side drawn in behind, and then he starts dropping down. And of course, he's got this massive bend over because he's throwing underneath himself, which is, he's hyzer flipping, I don't know, 45 degrees at least. And then once he hits his rotation spot, he stays right there. Pure rotation. Again, here we go. Up, land, down, rotate. That's what Garrett Gurthie does also. That's why Garrett Gurthie throws that nose down hyzer flip. Actually, Garrett is very similar to Wiggins. Okay, so what else can we get out of this? Not just the body move. All right, one of the things I noticed is that his elbow ends up being more than 90 degrees. Now, I've said 90 degrees, and I watched myself on a video, and it's probably a little bit bigger than 90 degrees. It depends on how big your arm is. But the idea, his elbow does get out here. We'll see it. Okay. That's a little bit more than 90 degrees. That's probably, I don't know, 110 degrees. Okay. To be totally honest. But he didn't, I don't believe that he's working the disc across his chest. That is bad. He's pulling the disc straight into his chest the same way as everyone else. He just chooses that his elbow folds more like a xylophone, kind of a fold, instead of it just swinging into the tuck like we see most of the disc golfers. He's bringing the disc further forward on his chest than the left pec. It's more centered. But I'd still say that would be a direct pull in. He's not pulling across. The elbow is tracking with his chest. And then right about there, that elbow angle is set. Okay, so his elbow angle is greater than 90 degrees. But I do believe it's a fixed angle, and he just maintains it. He's maintaining that same angle. It might increase a little bit right there. And he does throw underneath himself because he throws this massive hyzer flip. I mean, there's a few reasons. Okay, so there we go. That's a little bit more than 90 degrees. Now I would say this. You can fix that elbow, and wherever you decide to fix it, that's just fine and dandy, but you can't change it. And I think most of the good players that play pro disc golf choose less of an angle for their arm because it's more consistent for hitting lines. Can't say that for a fact. I don't really see a problem with this as long as it's not working from a shallow angle to a big angle, which would be pulling across the chest. I don't believe that's what's happening at all. But if it felt more comfortable to fold the elbow at a slightly greater than 90 degree angle, I don't believe that's going to be all that controversial. Now the next thing is, I want you to look at the disc. Okay. So look at this side of the disc. This is the side of his hand, and here's the side away from his hand. Now what happens to this side of the disc? There we go. right there. Massive pivot. He's throwing that side of the disc in nose down. He threw the back side of the disc nose down into the throw. Look at the massive pivot around his wrist. I'm going to do another video on this. I have some old video of Dave Dunapace throwing lids, essentially, and you can really see the pivot when those guys back in the day, they used to pivot the disc like crazy. Whack. See, I took the back of the disc and made it the front of the disc, and there's a huge pivot around his thumb lock. Watch the thumb lock. Watch it swing. Swing. This is a significant thing that people need to understand. You can throw the back of the disc and make the back of the disc the front of the disc. So he curls it in, and then he throws that side out and makes it the front. And it is not insignificant the amount of rotation that he gets around his thumb. Most people have the disc trapped behind their wrist and they continue to turn forward and they never actually get it fully released. This is releasing the head of the bat, as it were, or releasing the club head in golf. Most people are throwing with a bunt. That is not insignificant amount of disc pivot. Okay, I'm going to end there. 17 minutes. I hope you enjoyed it. Bradley Walker. My Patreon is Patreon Spin and Throw. If you haven't heard of the Facebook group is Spin and Throw Disc Golf. And subscribe to my channel, and I'll keep posting the videos here. Thank you very much.